The story on page 20 is entitled Mercator. Mercator means merchant or salesman, and the English words that are connected with it all have to do with buying and selling. Words like merchandise or merch, commerce, commercial. These all come from the Latin word merx, which refers to goods that are bought and sold. Now, the merchant who is visiting Caecilius is the friend, the amicus, that we saw in our model sentences. I gave him a little dad goatee down here. He kind of looks like Robert Downey Jr. And in this first sentence, the word caecilium is in the accusative case because that's who the amicus is visiting. This particular friend is a merchant, as I already said. So that's how we'll identify him in the next sentence. Mercator villam intrat. Villam, like caecilium, is in the accusative case because that's what the merchant enters. The first person he meets in the house is clemens, because clemens est in atrio. And the atrium is the first room that you enter. Clemens is the subject of this next sentence when he greets the merchant, mercatorem. Caecilius is in the room on the other side of the atrium, the tablino. When the merchant arrives, Caecilius is busy counting his money. Numerat looks like numeral, and pecuniam is the accusative version of the word pecunia, the most general word in Latin, meaning money. The next sentence explains why Caecilius would be doing this. Caecilius est argentarius. That's his profession. Now the book tells you this means banker, but Caecilius didn't own a bank. He's a guy who lends out money and charges people interest. He's called an argentarius because argentum is the Latin word for silver, and the most important Roman coin, the denarius, was made of silver. This word argentum, AG on the periodic table, is still the word for money in French, l'argent. And the Latin word denarius gives us the Spanish word for money, dinero. Getting back to the story, the amicus enters the tablinum, and Caecilius surgit, stands up. Naturally, Caecilius greets the merchant, and the merchant responds. The greeting and the response are the same word, salve, which literally means be well, but it's what the Romans say when we would say hello. If you remember that V and U are the same letter in Latin, then you can see the connection between salve and salutat. Dinner invitations were a big thing for the Romans, so after greeting his friend, Caecilius takes him to the triclinium, right? Caecilius triclinium intrat. He enters the triclinium, and then amicus quoque intrat. The word quoque means also. Wealthy Romans like Caecilius reclined on couches at their dinner parties, so that's what happens next. Amicus in lecto recumbit. Argentarius in lecto recumbit. So they're both in lecto, on the couch. Presumably different couches, but you never know. Meanwhile, in Colina, grumio cantat. Now, if you know the Spanish word cantar, you'll know that grumio is singing. He's also cooking in there, cocuit. And if you know the Spanish word pavo, you might think that he's cooking a turkey, but he's not. As I mentioned in class, pavo for the Romans meant peacock. So grumio is cooking a pavonem, a peacock. The next sentence tells us that grumio is singing because he is laetus, which means happy. But when Caecilius hears the cook, coquum audit, he's not happy. Non est laetus. This is how you negate a verb in Latin. you just put the word non, which means not in English as well, somewhere in front of the verb. So caecilius quoquam audit, he hears the cook, and he non est laetus. This could just mean that Grumio has a terrible singing voice, but the next sentence suggests that it's because Caecilius is hungry. Caecilius cenam expectat. He expects, he is watching out for, waiting for his cenam, dinner. Amicus is also waiting for his dinner. That's why he's there. So at this point, Caecilius Grumionem vituperat. Vituperat means to yell at somebody, to tell them off, to cuss them out. But it gives us some English words that are very high register and seldom used. Vituperate, vituperative, vituperation. These words are in the English dictionary. If you don't believe me, just look them up. That's all for now. We'll find out what happens to Grumio and whether Caecilius ever gets his dinner in the next story. Y'all stay safe.